Discerning Christian women who've taken the time to do research know that yoga is an unredeemable, unbiblical, pagan worship practice, that it's nothing like the 1 Corinthians 8 reference to the meat that was prayed over in the pagan idol. Yoga is not akin to that meat that could be redeemable. Yoga is akin to the pagan temple, to the pagan prayers, and therefore not redeemable. Paul also said in that passage that he would never do anything that could cause someone to stumble, as it could if a professing Christian woman is walking around with a yoga mat under her arm. Someone else could be led unknowingly into pagan practices through yoga. So let's talk about 4 non-yoga stretching alternatives. I did yoga almost every day before I was saved, either on my own or at classes. And when God graciously saved me and I realized that there was no way to do yoga to glorify God, because it's glorifying one of the 330 million Hindu deities instead, I threw away my yoga mats, I threw away my yoga gear, and I started to stretch in some of these ways that we'll talk about today. But first, let me just say, I am not giving medical advice at all here. This is not a substitute for medical advice. If you've got any kind of cardiovascular or muscular issues, you want to talk to a professional. I'm just giving you what works for me and what I've learned with working with ex-New Agers. So the first non-yoga stretch that I do every day is on a Pilates reformer. Now, I just checked today, and there are used in good shape Pilates reformers for sale on Facebook Marketplace. Of course, be careful with Facebook Marketplace and meetups, but my point is you can buy these machines for very inexpensive amounts relatively. We'll talk about even cheaper ways in just a moment. And this is a really good way to get a lower back stretch. You can see on the screen here, you put your feet through these pulleys and it just pulls up your lower back in this nice stretch. It's a good way to strengthen your core. Very important. It opens up your hips, which is really good for flexibility, especially as we're aging. Again, check in with your medical professional if this is right for you. But this is what I do. And it's very relaxing too. You can also use these pulleys to do arm stretches, to build up strength in your upper body. And this is something that you can do at home on your own. If you do go to Pilates classes, just be careful, because some Pilates instructors do incorporate yoga asana poses into their Pilates classes. And if that happens for you, you can simply just do something else. Explain to your teacher that you're a Christian who cannot engage in yoga, and maybe that would be an opportunity to share the gospel with her. But in the meantime, just make sure you don't engage in yoga asana poses. I know there's a lot of pressure to go along with others, but let's remember Galatians 1:10, that we are here to please God, glorify him, not people. The second non-yoga stretch that I've enjoyed using, and that's a lot easier on your budget, is through the use of what's called resistance bands. These are elastic, basically wide rubber bands that you can put around your ankles, around your legs, and you can use this to get a really nice hip stretch, the inner thigh stretch. You can use this also as a way to put them around your feet, to be like the Pilates reformer with the pulleys, and you can pull up your feet for a nice lower back stretch and to strengthen your core. Love this, using these resistance bands, especially if you're traveling. It's easy to just pop these in your suitcase. There's free instructions on YouTube if you'll search for resistance bands workouts. Again, check in with your medical provider to make sure this is right for you. The third non-yoga stretch that I enjoy doing every day, this is something I do in the morning, right after I've read the Bible before breakfast. We remember word before world. And this is from physical therapy. My mom went through physical therapy, and this is how I learned it, with the charts that physical therapists give out. And this is called door stretches. So you can see on the screen here, this is simple. You put your hands against the wall frame. Be careful with this according to your own physical limitations. But I really enjoy this. You put your hands against the door frame and then you lean forward and sideways. You can see it on the screen to get a really nice back stretch, really nice shoulder stretches. And this is something that really opens me up, I find, in the morning, gets me to breathing, really helps me to wake up since I don't drink coffee or caffeine. This is just a nice pick me up, and it's a good way to start the day along with your Bible reading. You can find other physical therapy stretches that those of us who don't need physical therapy for medical reasons can use. And these are the difference with these kind of stretches is that they're not spiritually based. With yoga, it is spiritually based. It's a spiritual system. The most ancient Vedic Hindu scriptures all talk about how each yoga pose glorifies a different deity in Hinduism. And you can't untangle that. I know there's so-called Christian yoga and holy yoga and praise moves. I've got videos on those linked in the description below. If it's called yoga, that word means yoke or bind to Brahma, the Hindu creator deity. So we want to be really careful. No other sport has the word Christian or holy in front of it because deep down, God's laws are written on our heart. And we know that yoga is something that is not pleasing to God. And it literally violates the first commandment, no other gods, and the second commandment, no graven images, as it makes our body contort into graven images of these deities. And we can say, God knows my heart, and that's true. And that should give us pause because God knows when we're being rebellious. There are so many alternatives to yoga that we don't need to try to twist, no pun intended, yoga into being something that it's not, and it's not for Christians. The fourth non-yoga way to stretch is a program that's relatively new to me. I've been researching this. I cannot find any yoga in it. It's called Eccentrics, and it's a movement program. You can see the videos on YouTube for free. Just type in Eccentrics workout. And it's also got classes. Now, I am not an affiliate. I'm not being paid for this. And like I said, I've just been introduced to this. And from what I can tell from my research, this is based on ballet movements. It's not spiritual. They're not going to ask you to chant some Sanskrit blasphemy. They're not going to ask you to do a guided visualization meditation. This is a workout, and supposedly it's a very good workout. So do check out Eccentrics. If you happen to find that it has any yoga components, please do let me know and I'll stop recommending it. But for right now, the Christian women I've talked with who are involved with it say that it is absolutely clean and it's a good alternative for those of us who want to glorify God in everything that we do. Now, of course, the Bible is very clear in 1 Timothy 4:8. For while bodily training is of some value, godliness is of value in every way, as it holds promise for the present life and also for the life to come. In other words, it is important to take care of this body that God created, but it's even more important to take care of our soul that God created and to store up our treasures for our afterlife with Jesus in the new heaven. So taking good care of your body has so many benefits, and I do believe it's something that we need to be doing. And at the same time, it's more important to take care of our soul by reading the Bible every day, by being involved with our biblically solid local church, and also by staying away from pagan practices such as yoga. I want to thank you so much for watching. God bless you.